Men in Black International. This movie is directed by F. Gary Gray. It is the fourth film in the Men in Black franchise. It follows a new agent, Agent M, played by Tessa Thompson, when she goes into the agency, recruits herself basically, and partners up with Chris Hemsworth's character, Agent H, and they have to deal with their kind of alien Earth problems that we've seen before in the Men in Black films. Now, when it comes to the first trilogy, or the trilogy itself before this one, I really did enjoy the first Men in Black movie. I think that's a really, really good movie. I think the second one kind of lost touch with it, and the third one was a bit better. I think it's definitely not on the level of one, but it's still a fun movie. I think Josh Brolin was a great kind of rejuvenation of the franchise. And then again, they've completely replaced both Will Smith's character and Tommy Lee Jones slash Josh Brolin's character, and given us two new agents to follow on, which I'm not against that idea, because it's a great way of kind of continuing the franchise without drawing out the same story between the same two agents. Now, this movie, actually, I didn't mind it. I think this movie is fine, it's enjoyable, and it definitely has got a lot of hate. Like a lot of the movies have been in the last few weeks, they're getting a lot of shit, and I don't think it quite deserves the shit. But I'll start off with some positives, and the biggest positives are Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. We've seen them work before. We've seen them work together in Thor Ragnarok, and they kill it again in this. They're very, very enjoyable. I think Chris Hemsworth, although he is very, very Thor-like, he's basically just Thor if he was wearing a suit without the superpowers. He still is very entertaining, as Chris Hemsworth is. As well as Tessa Thompson, I really liked in this role. I think her character was probably the most interesting out of any character. Her kind of arc that she had was easily the best, as well as Kimar Ninjani, nearly botched that name. He voices a character, Pawnee. He is a very funny character. He's an enjoyable character. And then the rest of the cast, aren't really that important, so I won't really get into them. But I think those two characters really worked. Pawnee, if you want to call it three, really worked. They keep you engaged. They keep you entertained for the most part, and you can have a fun time watching those characters. Now, it is in essence a comedy, so it does go for a lot of jokes, and there is jokes that I laughed at, and there's also jokes that I didn't laugh at. I don't think, being a comedy, I don't think it was really funny, but it wasn't not funny. To me, at least, I think a lot of people were kind of laughing when I wasn't, or laughing when I wasn't as well. Like, they were kind of on the same wavelength. It wasn't like I was just sitting there with my arms crossed while everyone else was laughing, or was the only guy laughing, or anything like that. It's kind of the same with my entire cinema. It was funny at parts. They do go for a lot of jokes, and some jokes work. I never was belly laughing, but they do miss on some as well, to definitely put that out there. But it is enjoyable. There's definitely some fun things to happen. There is some funny moments. There is some awesome scenes. But the thing that really put me off the most, it just doesn't feel like an MIB movie. It doesn't feel like Men in Black. Maybe that's because it's not Tommy Lee Jones or Will Smith, or it's Josh Brolin in the third. It just doesn't feel... It felt John Carter-ish at times, which is probably not the greatest reference because people do not like that movie. But it does. It just felt not the same. At the same time, maybe because they don't wear the suits as much, or maybe just it's definitely... It feels like the setting was just off because they go to like places that aren't New York City, and I think that was such a cool thing, and the cool aspect of seeing these humans in the city and these aliens and humans kind of coexisting in a city. Whereas this one, they go to like Saudi Arabia or wherever it is, and that's almost what an alien planet could look like, with a lot of sand and stuff. And I feel like maybe that wasn't the best choice of setting. It would have been cooler to sit in the city, but then you're also flirting with the idea that it is very close to the originals. And that's the thing, they're not trying to be a reboot. This is a sequel. This is the same universe for sure. They're just telling a different story. It's a spin-off in essence. But it does its job. It entertains you at times, but there's some definite holes in this movie that I just really, maybe seems a bit harsh, but I have to address. The two biggest things on the negative sides was the bad guys were really not really bad guys, and they were like, we're kind of here chasing you, but are we really going to play a role? I don't really know. And it kind of felt plotless, and that's the other thing. The plot just needed more on it, because I get it. It was very predictable in its plot, and that was a thing why I really think that the plot needed to be improved, and I heard it did a lot of rewrites, which probably explains a lot of stuff, and me and my friends were talking, and there's so many things in this movie that they could have... They're definitely written in for the movie that they have such a simple explanation for, and they go another way and completely, set up the whole another half an hour, and I get it, but it just felt like with these bad guys in the plot, it just fell apart in that instance, and it was just lucky that you had Hemsworth and Thompson keeping you engaged, keeping you laughing at times, but you know their chemistry and the charisma of those two actors just held you, which was very, very lucky. As well as just the director, it's F. Gary Gray. He's a very talented director, and I just didn't feel like this is an F. Gary Gray film. It just didn't have that stamp of any director, really. Like, I couldn't tell you if I didn't know who directed this film. It had no real personality to it. It just kind of felt like it was a bit phoned in. A lot of this movie just felt phoned in for me, and that's the thing. I'm gonna kind of flirt hard with the grade here because I did enjoy it, and that was the one thing I didn't get. I was never, get me out of here, but I was never like, holy shit, this is awesome. And in the last few reviews I've done, I've had Dark Phoenix, Godzilla, even Aladdin, where I've gone, critics are hating these, but I'm actually enjoying these. Whereas this one's kind of like, yeah, okay, it's not as bad, but I'm going to be harsh because those had elements of, I really liked the Aladdin. I was really, really enjoying that film and had a great cast with songs and story that I was really enjoying. And then Godzilla had some dope action fights. And then X-Men had the X-Men, and that was something cool that I've been invested in. Whereas this one of these just two random characters plucked out of nowhere that I don't know, and as much as they were acted well, the rest of the movies fell out apart about them, and they weren't enough for me to really rave about this movie and call it great. So for that reason, I'm going to give Men in Black International a C. I really did struggle with this rating. I was leaning towards the C+, but it needed something extra to boost it up to that C+ for me. And I know you could say, well, X-Men, you gave X-Men Dark Phoenix, or you gave Godzilla a C+. Yeah, and I did enjoy those films, and I definitely see their flaws, but it gave me enough to be able to overlook them. I just couldn't overlook them. This is literally just the perfect C of being like, faults, positives, probably more faults than positives, but not a bad movie. And I think that's it. I wouldn't complain if I had to rewatch it again, but I'm surely not rewatching. I'm not going out of my way to rewatch it. If it goes on, I'll probably watch it again. Have a fun time. I might even buy it. Probably will, because it's Men in Black, and they're lucky that I have to complete that collection. It's gonna annoy me not having Men in Black 4 as well as the trilogy. But that is enough talking for now. If you guys want to come back to the channel, make sure you press that subscribe button. Please give it a thumbs up, like this video, it goes a long way. Comment your thoughts on the movie if you have seen it. I heard it's not doing too well, so you probably haven't seen it, but let me know anyway. All that good shit. See you guys in the next video, but of course, have a good one.